Let's take all of that and apply it to the coronavirus and what's happening now, and let people decide for themselves if they think that the fact that the coronavirus hysteria, whether that's a coincidence. I absolutely do not believe that it is. In 2017, 2018, 45 million people got the flu in America, according to Centers for Disease Control and Prevention figures. 61,000 died. Where was the hysteria then? That this world is controlled by a cult. It's a cult that has no borders. It operates in all the, at least major countries, and in fact, all the countries in the end, and particularly in those countries that dictate the direction of the world. It wants to create a beyond Orwellian global state. A tiny few people dictate to everyone else. We now have a name for them. We call them the 1%. At the bottom of this pyramid in the Hunger Games society is basically the rest of humanity that is dependent upon the 1%. The idea is that everything will be connected to AI. This is what the Internet of Things is all about. They also want a society completely cashless, where everything is digital money, a single one world currency, which will be run through this smart grid. Now, in the same 30 years, I've been saying there are two major techniques that are being used to bring about that situation. One, I've called since the 1990s problem, reaction, solution, where you covertly create a problem, you use the unquestioning, pathetic mainstream media to tell the public the version of the problem you want them to believe. And you're looking at stage two, the reaction, for fear, that's the currency of control, outrage, whatever the problem is, and either a demand from the public that something must be done, or at least an acceptance from the public that things need to change because of the problem. And at that point, those who've created the problem got that reaction openly in changes in society, offer the solutions to the problems they have themselves covertly created. And those changes, step by step, take us further and further to that Hunger Games society. There's another version, which I call no problem reaction solution, where you don't need a real problem, you just need the perception of one, weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and you still have the ability to provide your society-changing solution. What you want people to believe is everything is random. Know the outcome, and you'll see the journey. If you don't know where this world is being taken by this cult, then everything seems random. Coronavirus, random. Climate change, random. Economic crash, random. But when you know where we're being taken, you know the outcome, this Hunger Games structure society, now the apparently random events become clear stepping stones to that outcome. Now, let's take all of that and apply it to the coronavirus and what's happening now, and let people decide for themselves if they think that the fact that the coronavirus hysteria ticks every single box of that outcome, that goal, whether that's a coincidence. I absolutely do not believe that it is. In 2017, 2018, 45 million people got the flu in America, according to Centers for Disease Control and Prevention figures. 61,000 died. Where was the hysteria then? Have we not learned yet to take what the authorities tell us with a pinch of salt until it's proved otherwise? This Hunger Games society, I've been saying this for a long time, is designed to have no small business, no even medium-sized business, globally, just gigantic corporations that control and produce everything. What this coronavirus hysteria is creating is a situation unfolding by the hour worldwide that is destroying small business, family business, even medium-sized business, some even relatively big businesses too. It's destroying them. The big legacy of what is happening now will not be to do with health long term, it will be economic. It's going to be catastrophic. Now, here's the point. What happens to those people whose businesses collapse? What happens to all those people who were working for those businesses? What happens to them? They fall into the bottom of the Hunger Games society. And the idea that all these things are being done to protect the elderly. They don't give a shit about the elderly. The elderly are an excuse to impose the very society that I'm talking about. Now, if you look at when these things happen and great Orwellian draconian things are put in place, you know, I've talked to you in previous chats about something called preemptive programming, where they preempt something to put it into the subconscious mind, even the conscious mind, through Hollywood, and then suddenly it kind of happens for real.
You don't trust the WHO at all?
Well, it's currently headed by a guy called Tedros from Ethiopia. He was health minister and was exposed 3 times for covering up cholera epidemics in Ethiopia. And now he's head of the World Health Organization telling us about the coronavirus. These organizations are not there to serve the public. They're there to serve this agenda. So who came out and said, oh, no, don't touch cash. You pass on the virus. Just use Tedros, same guy. Now, this Rockefeller Foundation document was about a scenario involving a flu pandemic. And it described what would happen. And it involved the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Bill Gates, the guy that wants to vaccinate the frickin' world, and, by the way, is funding the electronic tracking of people so that the authorities know if they've been vaccinated or not through an organization he funds called Gavi. We've had YouTube this week say that because they don't have the same number of staff, they're going to now have videos taken down purely by AI algorithms, and because of that, they say a lot more videos are going to be taken down, even those that don't, you know, break what they call community guidelines. So all these things that were decided in this Gates World Economic Forum 1% simulation 6 weeks before that they should happen are happening. Because what happens if you only believe the official version of everything is the official solution for the problem you believe in is going to take us further and further down the road to a society that would make George Orwell bloody wince. And all the things that I've said, this cult wants, this cult is getting as a result of this coronavirus. The way the whole economic system is being shut down is suicide. And what happens when it reaches a point where in its present state, it cannot continue, it cannot survive? A whole new economic system comes in, which is the one this cult wants. It's a joke, it's a hoax. And people say, well, why would they hoax climate change? You look at all the solutions to climate change, and again and again and again, they are exactly the same solutions and consequences as with the coronavirus. What did Prince Charles say at Davos? He said by 2030, we need a new global economic system, economic order to meet the challenge of climate change. What have I been writing for 30 years? This cult wants to transform the world economic order into this technocratic, AI-controlled tyranny.